Hello everybody and welcome back to Crafting Carlos. This is FlossTube video number 2. For those who are new here, my name is Carlos from Crafting Carlos, where I primarily talk cross stitching, mostly anything that has to do with yarn work or floss, if you want to call it that. Primarily cross stitching and knitting, and possibly down the line more type of fabric or yard work or anything that has to do with the world of crafting. If you have seen my first video and you're now tuning back in, I want to say thank you very much. I do want to start off the video by thanking everybody who came and showed out and showed great support by giving lots of positive comments down below. Thank you very much. Previously, I had shown some of my plans for the year 2025, for like the rest of the year, of what I was going to do. Everybody really commented on how great of the designs I had picked, so thank you guys very much. So I really do appreciate that. I didn't really think many people were going to tune into my first FlossTube video, but it honestly was overwhelming the amount of people that showed up, the amount of tips that people were giving, and recommendations. So truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Now, today, it's been a while since I did my last video. I know for anything that has to do with handwork does take a little bit of time, so I will be showing you guys where I'm at so far, the work that I have done, and kind of recap on some of the stuff that I spoke about from my last FlossTube video. Now, I do want to say thank you to Steph for giving me a shout out in her video. She is, I believe her handle here on YouTube is steph.xstitch. I honestly thought it was Steph cross stitch, but in her video she says it as steph.xstitch. I'll go ahead and tag her below. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, and thank you for the shout out. So as we first dive in, I do want to go ahead and start off with my very first FFO. I did show it previously. My first FFO was the little Charmander that I was doing. Now, it did take me a while to finish, but I love it. I love it so much, but now I'm not entirely sure what to do with it. So primarily my thoughts were, I want to turn this into a shirt. I want to put this design on a shirt, this specific one on a shirt, not redo it. I think if I started again, I could do a little bit quicker, but I want to see if maybe I can salvage this one instead of just leaving it here. I think since it was my first time, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with my projects, what I'm gonna do once I'm done, how to showcase them. So I did end up doing it too close to the border where it's not even centered. As you can see, the hoop really left a good imprint. So looking at this, it definitely could have been a little bit more centered to that, but it's not. So I was thinking of putting this on a shirt, just kind of in the center of a shirt. Another YouTuber that I did see, her name is Sarah Ann, and I'm gonna go ahead and tag her down below if you want to check her out. In her very first FlossTube video, she's wearing a shirt that has some embroidered chickens on it, which is so cute and adorable, and I want to do something similar with that. I can't recall if she had mentioned that she had started off with already a specific type of 8/0 or like an iron-on or so. So that would be much easier. This time around, if I were to redo it again, I believe that I would be a little bit more strategic on how I do my floss, my ties in the back. Now, I don't really see a lot of Flosstubers. It could be taboo, not really sure, but showing the back of the work, okay? This is what the current back of it was. I know there's a lot of like knots here and there. I know I did a lot of like traveling with the work that I had. On one of the stitches that was showing up here at the end of the tail was showing up also here on this side of the work. So what I ended up doing, I ended up somehow tying it in between the stitches to kind of go all the way over here. But I'm not really sure how I would be able to kind of implement this into a shirt design. Was kind of thinking of doing it more of like a embroidering the border around it and somehow cross-stitching that onto a shirt, but not really sure if that would work. If you have tried this before, I would really love your input. I would really love tips on how to be able to transfer it from the Aida over to a shirt, if possible. Not even sure if that's even a thing that can be done. Otherwise, I will go ahead and order like an iron-on Aida that would like dissolve or something like that. If I need to start from the beginning, then I'll go ahead and I'll do that, you know? No harm, no foul. But I did decide, and I did mention that this was going to be kind of like my test fabric or so. Currently, most of my works that I do are primarily on Aida, as that is a little bit more easier for me. Eventually down the line, I do want to maybe go up to different types of fabrics like even weave or Lugana, but for now, I'll stay with what is easier for me, which is going to be the Aida fabric. Another question that I had asked previously is how you guys in the FlossTube community or cross-stitching embroidery community, how you guys store your flosses. I had ordered some acrylic bobbins from Atomic Heart and still don't really know how to do those. I do have this container that I had where I was kind of keeping my flosses. Wasn't really paying too much attention to them, but currently right now the Atom Heart bobbins are down here. At least these are the ones that I've had from like the current projects that I'm working on. Other colors that you see on here are not all DMC. Some of them, to be honest, I don't even really know what brand some of these are. For example, this beautiful color on here, I don't really know. It just says question mark and 20 on it. Clearly, I wasn't really doing a good job at marking them. I think at some point I was like, let me just stick with like actual DMC colors. But here I do have another brand, and this says JL101. I can't remember. I wasn't really paying too much close attention to these because, as you can see, some of the beads that are like on the other side, I was primarily using those to make friendship bracelets. So this is one of the friendship bracelets, one that I have. And it was in a way kind of, it's lasted a very, very long time. So I had like the little beads that I have on the little end, so it doesn't kind of come out with that. But I still want to know what everyone does in terms of their storage for their flosses, because it's very interesting. The community seems to be very, very divided, whether it is on a bobbin or a drop floss. I still don't know which one's going to be easier for me. It definitely is easier whenever I'm actively working on my projects, doing the drop floss, but then again, I don't want a box that's just kind of like a lot of space just because of the hanging thread. So just kind of still debating on doing that. Initially, my plan was to just kind of stick with DMC threads, but that dream or that goal of mine was cut short, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. Now, I want to go ahead and bring up some of my other works. This next one, this is the design by Screaming Heart Designs right here. This one is from the 1900s. Also, in my previous video, I looked back at it and I'm kind of laughing at it now. But whenever, and nobody brought this, nobody mentioned it in the comment, but when I spoke about the design, I said from the 1990s. And I'm looking back and I'm like, it's not the 1990s, it's the 1900s. So no one brought that up. So thank you, kind of, for nobody calling me out on that. But this is so far where I am at. I only have the word plea. I did the top part of the design. On it, the back, it's a little bit much more neat. Honestly, I feel I'm not ashamed to kind of show the back of the work. I did learn my lesson from the Charmander one of how I didn't really like too much of the thread kind of being held on there. So what I'm doing now, I'm kind of like running it down and catching it in between stitches on there. So thankfully, I like that better. So it stands flatter, so I won't have much of a difficulty in terms of whether I want to frame it, hang it, or what. But once again, I have run into another lesson learned into stitching. As you can see on here, you see that right there. Thankfully, I have the light in the bag as my trusty assistant, but you can see the line that kind of shows right in the middle from the E and the L. I guess I have to be a little bit more conscious about the colors that I do choose along with the fabric. I guess it wouldn't have been much of an issue if it was more of a darker type of fabric. This is, I believe, a 14 count Ada. And it's just, I believe, 3/1 on there, just to kind of look a little bit more fuller. I was debating on doing 4 over it, but I didn't want to run the chances of it kind of snapping on me. So that's how far I've gotten in with that one. I honestly believe that this one is going to be a very, very simple design, and it's not really going to, let's say, be that much time consuming. So along we move with that. I think I'm gonna be done with it fairly quickly, as was with the Charmander one, which I want to turn it into a patch to put on a shirt, but I'm gonna have to look into it and see how to do that. So if you have tips, tricks, I'm all for it. Other YouTubers that have done it, definitely let me know. Now, the next whip that I'm going to be showing is the Celestial Orcas by Needle Lot Design. This one is going to be a gift for my nieces that I'm working on, and I just really like the colors because everything was very monochromatic with the black and the different shades of purple. This is how far I have gotten into it. I've gotten majority of the left side of the work and half of one of the Orcas on there. The back of it is looking good, not that bad. Much more neater, that's for sure. And it's definitely good practice for me. I have this one on a hoop, but I currently moved that hoop to work on a different project. So my hoop is currently moving from like project to project. I don't want to be collecting like a whole bunch of hoops. I think eventually might use my hoops to kind of showcase the work. But for now, I think I'm limiting myself to the number of hoops that I own because I don't want it to get too crazy. Now, if you see me kind of looking down, it's because I'm looking at my tablet to make sure that I know the proper titles of the works that I'm showing. Another whip that I'm working on is the Blue Hydrangea by Forrest Embroidery. This is one that I asked for help because of the fabric that it was requiring, as well as the floss that they were recommending was obviously coming from Russia. I didn't want to order it. I didn't want to order it and wait a long time for that to come in. So what I did, I went around to one of my local LNS shops around here. Do you say shops? LNS shops or just LNS? I don't know. How do you say it? Because it feels a little bit redundant to still say shop. But I went and I ended up using the fabric that I got from Artis, the green one that I showed in my previous video. This is where I am at so far. This is on 14 count Ada. So far, not really too much into it, but I did not want to use solid colors, so I did go looking to see if I could find something different, and I did. So this is where I was speaking previously before on the different types of threads that I wanted to use, primarily just stay with DMC, but unfortunately that was short-lived with this project because the work that is being shown, the colors are just so, it's variegated thread, but also it's so beautiful on the way that they did it. So the colors are shown symmetrical on both sides. Not really sure if that's photoshopped intentionally to look like that, or if they just really like calculated the floss to look like that, because honestly, chef's kiss to that part. But I did have to venture out, so I ended up looking into Threadworks and I got some different threads. So I did end up getting these. I have another one that it's not, I don't have it with me because right now it's kind of hidden. But these are the colors that I got from Threadworks. Now, I was a little bit confused. Obviously, it's a little bit more than your regular floss because it's more. However, this is already pre-cut for you. So I wasn't expecting that. I'm used to cross-stitching at a certain length of floss because the less I have to cut, the better for me. So since this is already a pre-cut length, I feel like I have to be kind of working my needle a little bit more often. But I appreciate it though. This just means that I have to have other needles, I guess, ready for me. I did end up getting other colors. I ended up also getting Wix Dye Works, these two colors from Wix Dye Works on here. And as well this variegated color here, because another one of the designs that I ended up getting was the Turtle Quaker, which a lot of you folks really, really liked, have either work on it or are working on it or have it on your list. So honestly, I feel like I'm doing good, right? So, so I ended up getting these variegated threads for those because the colors just really, really went along with it. I tried to find colors that were more similar to it, but I think there was only one color that I was not able to find, and that was one of the light green colors for the Forrest embroidery for the blue hydrangea. I didn't find that color, so I think that one's going to be the only one that I'm going to end up using a solid DMC thread for that. So that was a bummer, but overall happy that I was able to find majority of the thread for the other two projects. One of the projects that I definitely did not try to kit was the at the end of summer, this one right here. I didn't try to do that one. I feel like it was too much to get at once, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and wait a little bit before kitting or having this one kitted up. So at that point, okay. Now we're coming back to another help session. I'm gonna call those help sessions because I'm still fairly new and you guys are so great. You guys really came, showed out, and I want y'all's input on how you guys do this. I have seen a couple different methods, okay? My problem that I am having is the border of my work looks a little bit funky, okay? Now, don't come for me, okay? Because just don't come for me. I don't know how to say this, but don't come for me, okay? As you can see here, I have folded the Ada, okay? It's just holding on by some thread that I've pulled through the whole fabric completely. One of my issues is the fabric fraying, okay? And I don't know how to stop it. So I figured I would ask you guys what the best method was on doing that, or what your method is of what you do, okay? I have seen people who are working on bigger pieces of fabric that has already been sewn. The border has already been sewn all around. My issue, I don't have a sewing machine. So I have to kind of rely on this babies right here, my fingers, to get through it. So, yeah, I want to know how you guys do it. Initially, now, I hate this because I didn't think this through from the beginning. I ended up using this one right here is 14 count Ada. This was from DMC, okay? This is a printed Ada. I ended up stitching the border just across, like I did it all across. Afterwards, the fabric itself started fraying, and then I just kind of looped it around. It was quick work, okay? It got the job done. Here, as you can see, it's starting to kind of undo. I don't know if you can see it a little bit better here, but it's starting to undo itself right there. Oh, that's much better. It's already coming undone. So I'm gonna try my best to make sure that this doesn't kind of go all the way through. But as you can see, this is just being looped around it to kind of make sure that it doesn't continue fraying. Poor color choice, I know. Don't come for me on that part. But here for the artiste one, as you can see, I kind of looped it around there in the corner, and I literally just kind of went all around the border, on the back and on the front. But I want other solutions. I know this is not it because I know it's going to continue fraying. So I am being self-conscious on how I kind of manipulate and how I grab it, and how I'm trying not to be rough whenever I'm like cross-stitching, because that's kind of starting to kind of fray at the end. So I'm holding off on that, but I don't know how to do it or how to stop it from fraying. I have seen people who just literally don't do anything to it. They just let it be. Those people are bold. I don't know how you do it, but I have seen other people who I think grab masking tape to kind of put it around it. Personally, I am not a big fan of the masking tape. I'm not a fan of how it looks, and I'm not a big fan of how it would feel. I can't think of how it would feel every time you're like going over the fabric and it's like running on you, and then eventually it would peel off. I'm assuming it might end up fraying the fabric once you remove it and you like peel it off, I guess. I don't know. Not really sure on that part. But I really want your input on how you do this. Because on the other works that I had, it seems like I am moving quite quickly around it. I decided to end up adding possibly 3 more projects to my 2025 list. Will it? I know for a fact, don't come for me again. These are not going to be done by 2025 because these are a little bit more intricate, but we'll come back to that part. I checked your recommendations that you guys left me in the comments on my previous video about my tablet, on what applications you guys used. I think I ended up using Markup RX, XR, I can't remember, the Markup app. I was not aware that it was you only got a free trial, but I found it confusing to navigate through it. So I only had one project in it, and yeah, I'm not really sure how I liked it. It was a little bit confusing. I'm one of those old school where I like to go and I like to just kind of mark where I'm going. I know this does it for you. It tells you an estimate. I like the fact that it was giving me an estimate of how fast I was going to finish the project if I were to continue putting that amount of stitches in it. So I'm still debating if I want to just go ahead and purchase a subscription for 1 year or if I should try something else. So I do have, I am on iOS, so I do have an Apple tablet. So I do need to find something else that might be possibly easier to kind of work with, but it is what it is, okay? Back to my projects, okay? I feel like I'm going to end up finishing the Screaming Heart design relatively quickly. I'm really working through the, oh, I just blanked out. The Celestial Orcas. Sorry about that. I am going through the Celestial Orcas pretty quick by Needle Top. I'm sorry, Needle Lot. I don't know why I said that the same time last time. No one corrected me on that. So thank you. But please correct me if I make mistakes, because oopsie. I'm gonna tag them down below as well. Now, in my previous video, I did say that I found my Turtle Quaker through the Stitch Brat. And when I saw her posting on Instagram, she did end up posting one of her other works on there. The work that she is working on is, this one is called The Act of God by Long Dog Sampler. She is working on it with a variegated thread. I really, really liked how it looked, so I'm going to be adding that one to my future projects. If you're not following her, this is her Instagram. And I believe she also has a channel here, which I will be tagging down below. So I would definitely recommend for you to check her out. And I really liked it. So I went ahead and added that on my 2025 to-do list. I myself am going to be doing it as well with a variegated thread. I did purchase one from DMC. I think I put it up, so I don't really have that out on display right now. But it is very similar to the colors that she was showing on here. Another one that I'm adding, and it's one of the 3 that I am adding, it is, this one is a Quilter string. That one is by Modern Folk Embroidery. Now, I know I said I'm not really too much of a folk or traditional folk cross stitcher, but this one itself, I just really liked the symmetry of it. Not too crazy in terms of color, so I really, really liked that one, and I figured it would be very easy to do. And I figured, why not, right? I figured since it's symmetric, it might be a little bit quicker. And now that I'm getting a little bit more experience, I am definitely seeing myself kind of speed up a little bit more through my designs. Another one of the Flosstubers that I follow here on YouTube is Sheldon and Stitches. There's not really that many guys, to be honest, that are like doing things like this on FlossTube, but I am following some, or like some of the few guys that are like running down on my that are showing up on my YouTube, but I am following them. But Sheldon and Stitches, in one of his videos, he shows that he is working on the Fruits of Plenty. Again, this one is by Modern Folk Embroidery. That one was the 2021 Stitch Along, and he is doing it in a duo color. I believe it's like a lighter green and a darker green. I really, really liked it. So this is how far he is along with it, and he did give me permission, as well as Stitch Brand, to post their work on here. But I went ahead and I'm adding the Fruits of Plenty to my to-do list. It caught my attention. The design from far away, if you look at it, it does look symmetric, but when you come close, it's not as symmetric as you think. So I'm going to be doing that, and I believe I might also be doing it in 2 colors. They are showing it off in the blue color on their website. I really like that. I really like the way Sheldon is doing it with the color green. So I'm debating if I want to stick with the green or the blue. So I'm just debating on those 2. So those 3 works are being added to my list. So wish me good luck on doing those 3. So those are the current, that's where I'm currently at with my whips. That is where I'm at for my future plans for the rest of 2025. I did realize that I did not bring my Instagram or other social media here on the channel. To be honest, I don't really have a specific channel for my cross stitching. I do have my own personal Instagram, which I'm gonna go ahead and just put here, my tag. If you guys want to go ahead and follow me there, you can. If you guys want to go there and chat with me about cross stitching, you guys are more than welcome to come and send me a message. It's always nice to be able to chat with other folks about crafts that you're into, because I know sometimes we have crafts that people aren't necessarily into, or topics, especially those in your immediate circle of friends. Because I'm not going to force my friends to get into stitching, but if you're my friend and you see this video, I'm not saying you got to get into cross stitching, but I have an extra hoop or so. I definitely have a lot of flaws, so come sit next to me. We'll work together. I'm just kidding. But my friends are very, very supportive, so I thank them. But yeah, I don't think none of my other friends are into this kind of stuff. I've always been the odd one out, okay? Now that summer is ending and fall is coming right around the corner, I am going to be starting up my seasonal projects, which is knitting. I'm not the best knitter, but it is enjoyable. That's not even a word, is it? I enjoy it, and it's very therapeutic for me. So this first one that I'm going to show you guys, I started a couple years ago. I'm not gonna say how long ago, probably, because I can't remember, but it's been a minute, okay? This is the first ever knitting project that I've kind of started. And it's supposed to be a scarf, okay? I don't even know where I got the design or like the pattern from, to be honest. So if you guys find it, please let me know. But I ended up writing it down on paper. That's where I'm following the pattern from, okay? But this right here is my scarf that I've started doing. So this is how long it is, and I want it to be slightly longer. Maybe this year might be the year that I actually finish it. But this is the first ever project that I kind of like took upon myself to kind of do. It is very intricate, okay? Didn't realize how much time consuming it was going to be. It does have a little oopsie on here, as you can see. I left it on there on purpose. I didn't go back just because it shows that it's handmade, you know? So yeah, this is how far along I am with it. I really, really like it. I love the different type of textures that it shows. So we're coming along into knitting, okay? Along with my cross stitching. Another one of my projects that I'm working on that I started last year, and this is as well one of my first. This right here, I was making a sock, and I am debating. If you know about socks, please give me all the tips that you know you're into. But everything was going great until I started getting into the heel. I feel like I might have done too much of the heel. I don't know if I'll finish this or if I don't know if I want to like frog it and just like start all over again. But those are my two knitting projects. So if you stuck along this far, thank you very much. I truly, truly appreciate everybody that has commented, has shown support with watching the videos, and has subscribed. If you're new here, thank you very much from the bottom of the heart. Please, if you're thinking of following me along, go ahead and subscribe. And that way you can follow me along with my cross-stitching journey, and see how far along I can get with some of my knitting projects. But I believe that is all that I wanted to discuss about. I'll be honest, I feel like everything is all over the place. I was going to make a list of how I was going to discuss it, but I think I touched every subject. Tips on the borders for the Ada and fabric. Tips on what apps are you guys using. I definitely want to hear more about how you guys definitely hold or store your floss. And I think that was pretty much it. So thank you guys for coming along on my second FlossTube video. And I will see you guys hopefully at the next update. And hopefully I can have more more finished FFOs or finished objects at that point. Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.